As of mid-2025, Uganda's debt burden stood between shillings 106 and shillings 110 trillion, which is more than 55% of the country's GDP as per the 2025 Midterm Auditor General's report. As MPs today returned from recess, the Ministry of Finance tabled 3 fresh proposals to borrow €9.4 million and $36.5 million for the construction of cancer centers in Mbale and Arua. Another loan request is worth $99.56 million to finance a resilient livestock value chain project, and additional financing of €188.8 million and €28.31 million for the Busega-Mpigi Expressway.
I beg to lay on table the proposal to borrow up to €188.18 million, an equivalent of UA 150 million from the African Development Bank, and Euro 28.31 million, equivalent to UA 22.57 million from the African Development Fund as additional financing for the construction of Busega-Mpigi Expressway project. I beg to lay.
Speaker of Parliament Anita Among directed the Committee on National Economy to urgently scrutinize the livestock value chain and expressway loans, warning that delays could trigger cancellation since both projects are already in the pipeline.
The deadline of signing this loan is on 12th September 2025, but because we've been on recess, short recess, we could not accommodate it, and failure to have it processed before that would call for a cancellation of this loan, and it has an aspect of a grant. I want to request the Committee of National Economy that you consider this loan and report back on Tuesday.
But while the government insists these loans are necessary to drive infrastructure and health improvements, critical voices in the House disagreed. Some MPs warn that continued heavy borrowing will push the country into financial distress, especially given the rising cost of debt servicing.
Last financial year, we had a budget of 70 trillion again, but we had a debt that had matured of 38 trillion. 48% of the budget was for debt servicing. This financial year, budget of 72 trillion, 27 trillion is for debt servicing. Yet the tax projection is 34, but they will not correct more than 27. So these guys have mortgaged all of us, and the MPs are just nodding. Because I ask them before you say I understand the implications.
The only thing is that our public debt will continue to escalate. And so we basically need to be thinking and say, okay, as we add more debt onto the national debt, how are we going to manage it? Is it sustainable? That's the question that should be asked. And then the question is, are we going to put that money into productive use?
And as Uganda's debt burden continues to mount, the worry is no longer about borrowing for growth, but about borrowing merely to survive. With Parliament's loan approvals feeding what many now call a vicious cycle, critics warn that the nation risks working only to service debt, while development aspirations slip further out of reach. David Ijo, NTV at Parliament.